All right, what's up and welcome in. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., bringing you this video from home because there's some important news to relay on Jimmy Garoppolo, his shoulder recovery, and a potential trade looming. Also, Deebo Samuel, according to Jeremy Fowler, has not dropped his trade request, even though he was on hand for 49ers minicamp back a couple weeks ago in the shadows of Levi Stadium. We're going to cover it all, but first, make sure you subscribe to the channel by hitting that red subscribe button down below. Training camp coming up in July. Preseason and the regular season going to be here before we know it. Our coverage is about to ramp up this summer going into the fall. We just eclipsed 60,000 subscribers, so join the faithful unit here at Chat Sports for the best 49ers coverage on YouTube as well as Rumble. And if you are subscribed, show me that you're subbed and type gang in the comment section. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us no matter where you're watching, how you're watching. Thanks as always for supporting the 49ers Report. So we start off with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jeremy Fowler tweeted this on Saturday. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo remains on schedule in his recovery from shoulder surgery and his timetable for throwing per source. The expectation has been that Garoppolo will throw over the next few weeks, early in July per Kyle Shanahan, and that plan is still in place. Additionally, this is what Fowler had to report on the Garoppolo front. Once this happens and Garoppolo can pass a physical, the trade market for him could heat up. Obviously, that's really notable. Throughout this offseason, OTAs and minicamp, it's been Trey Lance getting all of the reps and all of the snaps with the first-team offense, and because of that, he's been able to build up his confidence. He's been able to display the ridiculous level of talent that caused the 49ers to move up to number 3 to take him, and he's been able to really just get his feet wet. Because if you remember last year, it was Garoppolo getting all of the first-team snaps, and I think that's been really important for Lance's development throughout this offseason so that he can understand what it's like to be the guy, to be the face of the franchise, and really, most importantly, get all of the snaps that he needs to work out the kinks and kind of iron out some of the wrinkles in his development because we know he's young and inexperienced. And additionally, Fowler saying this about Jimmy G, entering the final year of his contract, scheduled to make a little less than $27 million against the salary cap. That deal did include a no-trade clause in 2021, but the 49ers do have the right to trade him to any team of their choosing if they wish. So that was important last year. Obviously, they weren't going to trade him because after that 3-5 start, Niners went on a roll, and they ended up making it to their second NFC Championship game in 3 years. An acquiring team would take on $24+ million in salary if it traded for Garoppolo right now, but that salary is not guaranteed, and interested teams could potentially work with him on a contract extension that then in turn knocks down that salary cap number in exchange for guarantees. My thoughts on this, fascinated to see what happens. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan really likes Garoppolo. He's done some marvelous things for this franchise ever since the 49ers had traded away a second-round pick back several years ago to the New England Patriots for Garoppolo. And since he's been here, yes, he's been injured a lot, but he's won a lot of games, and he's had a lot of success, and he's helped propel the Niners on a couple of deep playoff runs. And we know what Garoppolo can bring to the table. And opposing teams know what he can bring to the table. A steady presence, a locker room stabilizer, a good leader who a lot of people respect from the players to the coaching staff. He's won more than 70% of his starts with the Niners, which is important because at the end of the day, winning games is the most important attribute for a quarterback. 2 NFC title games and a Super Bowl appearance over the last 3 years. Is he a freakish quarterback talent? No. Does he make some maddening mistakes? Yes. But he's steady, he wins a lot of games, and for teams looking for quarterback help out there, a lot of teams that are starved, looking for wins, looking to right the ship for their franchise, Garoppolo is very appealing. And you know what you're going to be able to get from Jimmy Garoppolo if he is your guy. Again, does he make some maddening, ill-advised throws? And does he throw some bad interceptions? For sure. But also, there are a lot of pluses there for Garoppolo as well. Teams who could trade for him, and these are just some teams that come to mind, and obviously this becomes fluid over time because information changes and there are going to be injuries that also happen to quarterbacks out there, which could subtract the team from this list. It could add a team to this list. Seattle Seahawks, Houston Texans, New Orleans Saints, New England Patriots, the Panthers, Falcons, and Miami. So you kind of look at those teams right now, maybe throw the Pittsburgh Steelers in the mix, but I don't know. You drafted Kenny Pickett and you signed Mitchell Trubisky to a solid deal. The Seahawks, according to reports, in on Baker, and that interest could be mutual. The Texans, right now it looks like Davis Mills. The Saints, some chatter about Jameis Winston's knee not looking all that good throughout the offseason. We'll see how he's able to progress, not yet at that year recovery from that torn ACL. Patriots, because Bill Belichick likes him and the organization has familiarity with him. There was so much talk at the time when the Patriots had traded Jimmy G that Belichick wanted to move forward with Garoppolo instead of Tom Brady. We know how it worked out. The Patriots ended up making it to a couple of Super Bowls. Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, they're going to move forward with those guys with Matt Rule on the hot seat and him needing to pick up some wins this year. Atlanta Falcons, Marcus Mariota, is he going to be the guy? I think we know who he is up to this point. And the Miami Dolphins because of Mike McDaniel and his respect and the relationship that he has with Garoppolo. You could put the Cleveland Browns in that conversation as well. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. Is it going to be a 6-game suspension, 8-game suspension? Is he going to be suspended for the entire year? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Deshaun Watson never plays again. But according to reports, it looks as though they're confident in Jacoby Brissett being their guy. And obviously, with the team that spent a lot of money over the last couple of off seasons, they'd have to absorb that big salary cap number for Garoppolo, and Jacoby Brissett is a lot cheaper. Before we get to Deebo Samuel, some really interesting stuff from Jeremy Fowler. Where will Garoppolo play in 2022? Will it be with the Niners? Will it be with another team that we just talked about or a team that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comment section right now. As for what Jeremy Fowler said about Deebo Samuel, and it's funny because Fowler has reported on Garoppolo throughout this offseason as well as Deebo, so he's got a little birdie within that front office, on that roster, within that coaching staff that he's been able to tap into throughout the offseason over the last couple of months. Fowler said this morning, so this is really fresh, that there's been no official rescission of the trade request. So he hasn't rescinded it. A nice little word there from Fowler, at least that I'm aware of, Fowler said. But Deebo did show up for minicamp, which is, of course, a positive, and there's not a lot of league-wide chatter about a potential trade right now. And I've always said this about Deebo. A trade never really made sense. A divorce never really made sense. I can understand why Deebo wants to get paid. He has a base salary this upcoming year of $3.9 million. That's the final year of his rookie contract. Given the way that he plays, the year that he's coming off of, he wants more financial flexibility, more financial stability, and he wants to get paid, especially when you combine all of that with the level of player that he was this past year, and the wide receiver market absolutely popping off and exploding this past offseason. He sees all these other guys getting paid, he wants to get paid as well, and $3.9 million in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of money to the common folk. It's not a lot of money when you're living in California with those state taxes, and you're a professional athlete. Tom Brady, LeBron James, Russell Wilson, they literally pay like $1 million per year on their body. George Kittle just said he pays $300,000 per year for his body recovery. So you take that with all of the expenses and living large with dieting, nutrition, training for a professional athlete, that $3.9 million, it is not that much money for a professional athlete. So I never thought it really made sense for Deebo to get dealt because of the partnership that he has with Kyle Shanahan, how he's utilized in this offense, and if he's used less as a running back, it's going to help his longevity, and I'm sure that that appeals to him. Also, the trade timeline doesn't really make sense right now. I always said a trade would have made more sense around the NFL draft because you would have had an opportunity to get your guy then and start grooming that young piece. You also want Deebo Samuel on this roster to build that relationship with Trey Lance to help out your young quarterback. Now, could a trade happen for another disgruntled star? Maybe. But I think it's in the wise interest of Deebo as well as San Francisco to hold on to Samuel, to continue this partnership, to see what special things he can do playing for a head coach who utilizes him and maximizes his skill set and his talents, but also Why fix what's not broken? Again, I understand the frustrations from Deebo and his camp, but can you work these things out? Potentially him coming back and reporting for 49ers minicamp was a good step in the right direction. I still think a deal is going to be struck at some point between Deebo and San Francisco by the way that they've done business over the last couple of years and historically with this franchise. Fred Warner last year, George Kittle the year before that. They usually wait until about July or August to get a deal done with some of their homegrown talent that's looking for a contract extension. Now, the wide receiver market did pop off this offseason. Tyreek Hill, historic deal. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp. So with them getting the deals that they did, and in turn securing the bag and just making the wide receiver market explode to the point where the average annual value for those players has skyrocketed and really increased, did the 49ers wait too long? And did their timeline of how they do business come back to bite them? Because if they would have given Deebo Samuel a contract extension soon after the offseason, before some of these other deals had taken place, would you have to give him $25 to $30 million? And could you have gotten him at a bargain at around $20 million? Potentially, we will see what happens on the Deebo Samuel front. I appreciate everybody for tuning into the show. Do you think that Deebo's going to get paid? Type P. Do you think he's going to get traded? Type T. Let me know in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe. I hope all of you are having a great weekend. And if you're a big NBA fan, by the way, our NBA draft coverage on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, nearly 800,000 people tuned in on Thursday. And then this week, free agency for the NBA gets underway. I've been helping basically lead all of our NBA content. So subscribe to our NBA team channels and our main Chat Sports YouTube channel if you want to stay in the know with everything going down with the NBA. But of course, keep it locked here on the 49ers Report for the best coverage, because my coverage here on the channel, it ain't stopping, even though I'm doing a lot on the NBA front.